Great. It does show us on our YouTube, seeing that it's also live on Facebook. Let's double check on our end over here.
That might be the only 60 seconds of silence I get today. So I just really wanted everybody to enjoy that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we are going to jump right into starting this broadcast so it doesn't eat up too much of the time for them to get to know you. Good morning, once again, afternoon or evening, really, whenever it is that you end up watching this broadcast or rewatching it. I want to thank you all for tuning in to our candidate broadcast today. I am Juliette Abdel, the Westminster Chamber President and CEO, and I want to invite you to like our page, follow us for future content that we may post. You can also hit the share button on this video so others in your network can see that there's a candidate broadcast going on, can also tune in and gain some information and knowledge about who the candidates are, and can be informed at the polls when they go out this November. Note that there is a comment section, and I know a couple of you have already started using it, but this comment section can be for good morning pleasantries. It can be for remarks. If you hear something that you may agree with, you may not, go ahead and type it into this section. You can also type in any questions that you have. I do have to share with you that we have questions that were pre-submitted to us for these candidates. None of those questions were shared with any of the candidates in advance. So, unless they tuned into the broadcast instead of hopping on and being in the background, they haven't seen these questions before. They will have 45 seconds to answer the question, 45 seconds or less, and they will begin with an introductory statement and then a closing statement as well at the end. I do want to encourage you that outside of this broadcast, you should go to the candidates page, learn about why they're running for office, what credentials they have. We'll include their campaign page in the comment section for you to be able to go to at a later point in time. But I am very excited and thrilled to have with us today Vanessa DeMott. Thank you so much for being on here, Vanessa.
Hi, Juliette. Good morning, Chamber, and all of those members out there. It's an honor to be here.
Of course. Well, we do have Mayor Pro Tem DeMott that's on here giving us a nice good morning again. He was on my previous broadcast, so thank you for tuning in once again, Dave. Dave Carpenter, we're doubling up on Dave's this morning. Good morning to you as well. Thank you for the quick notes to Vanessa and myself. And of course, we also have Parker Brown tuned in with us, giving us a nice good morning message as well. So thank you all for being on here. That is how we'll display any comments that may come our way in between our questions that we have for our candidates. Of course, our candidates today is for House District 29, and that's Vanessa DeMott. Vanessa, tell us what you would like to share as an opening statement or remark to the audience.
Absolutely. Well, good morning again, Chamber members. Good morning, Juliette. Thanks for hosting this. I will be brief, but a big thank you for your gala Friday night. Always amazing to see business members recognized and honored for their contributions to our community. I'm going to quick shout out to Liberty Communications. My company up in Boulder County, we use Liberty Communications, so definitely just want to thank them for their service and love that we use a Westminster company up there. My name, Vanessa DeMott, born and raised Jefferson County. I have lived in Westminster and raised my Westminster family here for the past decade. My kids attend Jeff Cove Public Schools, and all around, I just love this community. Why I decided to run in 2022 for your House District candidate, first as those boundaries changed, this really encompasses the municipality of Westminster, minus a few of our great neighborhoods. But I see crime. I see the cost of living and education absolutely affecting our families, which affects our business. Right now, I'm a commercial project coordinator and estimator, working on a commercial glass side. I see vandalism and those issues that, again, affect a business being able to operate at its absolute capacity where everybody can thrive in a community. So for those reasons, I'm excited to dig into whatever questions you might have for me that help all of our voters out there really get educated.
Well, thank you so much for that. I also see Kristen and Troy on here. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast today. You don't have to comment. You can give us a reaction to the video and we'll be able to see who you are. I will display the question on our screen. I'll be able to ask the question of the candidates. And then if it's a lengthy one or for some reason it blocks the candidate, then I will take it off of the screen. But this first one is mainly to hear your thoughts around this statement. And that is that not long ago, Colorado had the #1 economy in the country. Now our employment rate is the 33rd worst. The state budget has ballooned to $40 billion, while our lower and middle class Coloradans are still struggling to make ends meet. What thoughts do you have on this?
Let's be really specific to business here. Inflation costs all of us a lot of money. Bad policy costs a lot of us money. What we see is an intermingling of what crime has cost business, which then causes an inflation in all of your energy, your supplies. Workforce is costing all of us a huge amount in time and having to wait for those materials and for things to get to businesses that we need. We can help by making better policy. We can help by giving a sales tax holiday to workers who need to get back to work, to give them a sales tax holiday on boots, on flashlights, on tools that make that job easier. Again, I work in construction. I know how crucial these things are. And these are not tools that you can just go and utilize in other industries. So it is very specific. It is important to help these businesses and these workers get back to work.
Thank you for that answer. This next question asks what your priority is for Colorado.
Kids and family. This ties into having a ready and able workforce for our businesses, and our kids are struggling with mental health. I want to look at policy that puts kids first, that says these are kids that deserve access to education beyond what kind of diagnose or special education that they need, that if their schools aren't meeting their needs, their family needs to be in that center of decision making to get them to the place that will get them tooled for a life beyond just that K through 12 education. Too often we're forcing kids into a pathway of higher education that is costly and that we now see creates a lot of debt. That's not healthy for Colorado. It's not healthy for Colorado families. We have a priority to make kids first and families first.
Okay. For that. Here's our next question for us, and that is, what is the biggest problem within the business climate in the state of Colorado?
I'm going to lean back on workforce. Workforce is our biggest issue. There is no lack of business out there. There's nothing that pains me more as a coordinator to have to take calls from the local business community that's dealt with vandalism over another violent weekend in Colorado. And I can't get out to them for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, their business is boarded up. For 2 weeks, they're waiting just for somebody to come out and tell them that they can help them. We have an issue with workforce. We have an issue with the pipeline of mental health workers in Colorado. That makes it extremely hard as a parent with a child struggling with mental health to get her the help she needs and to sustain that help. So for me, I want to be able, again, to look at kids and be able to say that leaving high school, leaving that K through 12 education, we're readying you for the business climate in Colorado.
Excellent. Thank you for that. This is a lengthier question, so I will display it and then I'll probably pull it off so folks can see you and kind of see your nonverbal communication as well. This question talks specifically on schools. We were just sharing about kids and the needs to support them. So Westminster is served by 3 school districts and home to many wonderful schools. Westminster is also home to several leading charter schools here in the state. What, if anything, should the state legislature do to ensure that our schools are supported and families have access to learning opportunities that best meet the individual needs of their children?
I love this question. I absolutely love this question. Charter schools give an amazing resource to families, and we can support them as a state legislator by making sure they have 100% of that per pupil funding that comes with a student allotted by our state law. Beyond that, we can make sure that the students, again, who need a specialized education can access that regardless of a district boundary. I think the state's come a long way to support those students, but we can continue to meet them. About 10% of those kids in public education do require special education, do require teachers, do require psychiatric support, mental health support, and all of that within the school day. You cannot compartmentalize those pieces. You have to find a way to get that student to those places. Sometimes those neighborhood schools are not it. In order for a parent to be able to access that, you need a conjoined effort of what that state law provides in the way of financial help and what you can bring to the table as well. This is a place that I think we affect down the road: homelessness, substance abuse, crime rates. When we take care of our kids and we meet that child where they're at, that's how you start changing Colorado.
Well, you've just parlayed into the next question unknowingly. And this question,
I do that, and that's why you want me as your next state representative.
homelessness is an increasing problem in Colorado, and with the economy struggling, there's a potential that it will get even worse. So what can the state legislature do to address this problem?
Homelessness, I would say 99%. Let's look at it through a mental health lens. Let's look at it as our veterans that are coming back unequipped to be able to acclimate back into society. Let's look at it as those who are recently incarcerated, not being able to find employment, adequate employment to be able to afford the cost of living. There was a House bill last year, I forget the number of it, but it would have given renters who make under $40,000 individually, or conjoined or couples, $80,000, and the ability to take that rent off of their state income tax. That was killed in our finance committee. Policy like that helps people and helps keep them where they're at. But homelessness altogether does have a lot to do with mental health. And within the city of Westminster, they've provided co-responders that can go and start creating an intervention, creating a pathway, connecting people to casework so they can find those avenues and get the help that they need. And get them back to a place of thriving in Colorado.
Thank you. Our next question is around crime rates. Crime rates across Colorado are exploding, as are fentanyl-related deaths. What can be done at a state level to address this issue?
Oh, this is a fantastic question. I campaign, and I have this my very front on my binder. Colorado has been at the mercy of crime, violent crime. Over the last couple of years, crime has cost Coloradoans over $4,000, almost $5,000 per Coloradoan. This is a tremendous impact on not just families, on businesses across the board. How we should look at this should be harsher punishment for those violent offenders. They should be serving 80 to 90% of those sentences. There should not be PR bonds allowed for those violent offenders. When we look at fentanyl, this should be across the board a felony. There should be no amount allowed. We are not helping an addict by saying that you should be allowed to have this and then turn around and not give them the resources they need. You help an addict, and I speak from a place of a former addict in the early 2000s struggling with meth. This is no different. This is helping somebody intervene in their life and getting them the resources they need. We need to get Colorado back to a place of criminals being held accountable for their actions and helping the people in a place that they need.
Thank you. I see Emilio and Abdel Sattar. Thank you both for being on here with us. I also see Brian Head. I appreciate you guys for being on here. We have another one of our questions for our candidates. And know if we run out of questions and there's still time, we'll take up any questions from the audience. So you can always feel free to type in a question or a thought for us to try and get to at a later point. This question comes to us around Tabor, okay? Says that some in the legislature have increasingly sought to eliminate Tabor over the past several years, only to rebrand and celebrate Tabor required refunds this year, calling them Colorado cashback. What is your position on Tabor?
Right now, Tabor is the law of the land. Colorado voters have continuously asked to support Tabor, but I just think it's unique that in a year that, again, as people and opponents have fought against Tabor, that all of a sudden it's now being embraced. As of right now, Tabor protects a ridiculous amount of our tax dollars, and it gives the voters access and rights to their representatives to say, this is what we want, and this is consent of the governed.
Thank you. Here's another question for us, and that is, why should voters elect you and not your opponent? Please limit to policy and approach. So think of things that make for what qualifies a good candidate, and rather than external other factors that might
No.
be.
Absolutely. Representative Bird and I have had many conversations, and at the end, we have always ended on House District 29 is in good hands, regardless of the outcomes of November 8th. I have nothing but respect for Representative Bird, and I absolutely thank her for her service. My campaign has been about contrast. So I asked Colorado, are you better in the last 4 years, since we've had a lot of change and a lot of unbalance in the state legislature? I asked Colorado to look for balance. Look for a candidate who is supported locally, and look for a candidate who has the community within its passion and within its focus legislatively.
That's so crazy. I'm sorry I just got distracted because I had some weird comments show up. I'm thinking that's on YouTube.
Yeah. No, I see that as well.
I'm like, what is going on here?
That's spam.
That is spam. I guess we won't find our love today.
Okay.
This next question is specific to your district, and that is, what is the biggest issue facing your district, and what would you do about that?
I'm going to lean back on mental health. And maybe this is, it affects my family so personally, but I also see again how it affects a workforce when we do not have an able and available workforce out there to wait tables, to cook, to do taxes, to show up every day and help contribute to the economy. Mental health is affecting our kids hands down. Teen suicide is an all-time high in the nation. It affects Colorado disproportionately for whatever reasons those are. We need to get back to looking again and at what are the places that we can meet kids where they're at, and start curbing homelessness, substance abuse with better policy, and stop looking at nonprofits and organizations as competition from government as rather than partners. So for me, let's look at people in the human condition. That's our biggest problem right now.
Thank you. So while Vanessa is thinking through what she may want to say as final remarks and thoughts out to you all, I do want to put in this plug, and this is her campaign page. You'll find it in the comment section here of our Facebook or YouTube channel. I encourage you, of course, after this broadcast or at some point between now and elections, to go and learn more about the candidates. These allow for you to hear them in small snapshots about some pretty important issues, but you also want to understand them and the information that they have placed out there. So take time to be an informed voter and go to their page whenever you have that moment. Vanessa, what are a few things that you want to close out with today?
First, just a ton of gratitude, Juliet, for you in the chamber. It's a pivotal piece of our communities to have thriving businesses. Again, as a native of Colorado, a mother of 4, and again, working class. I work in construction up in Boulder County. It is crucial to be able to get to work every day. It's crucial to have that thriving business community. And be able to focus on what matters most to families. I really appreciate the community here that rallies around the chamber, but rallies around candidates. Policy affects your life every day. Good policy, bad policy, it's there regardless. All I do is ask for your support. I ask for you to check out my website, DeMottforColorado.com. Again, Vanessa DeMott, born and raised Jefferson County. Thank you, Juliet, and the chamber.
Of course. Thank you so much, Vanessa. And thank you to all of you that are tuned in. A quick reminder, this will be available as a replay for you to rewind and watch. You can always share it out to others in your network. And also know that we will be ending this broadcast, but stay on our pages because we'll be right back with another candidate. So these are a couple of our states level. We are moving into our county. Make sure that you refresh the page here in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and you'll see another live broadcast start with that candidate. Engage with us on that broadcast as well. Vanessa, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you again, I'm sure, into the future. And we can't wait to see after the elections how we can continue to work with you to improve our community.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.